So, everybody, welcome to the fifth iteration of the Lounge Roundtable podcast. Today, I have some amazing guests with me. We are unfortunately a couple people short, had some people moving around. Some people were going to show up, didn't show up. Some people weren't going to show up, then did show up. So, we have, instead of 5 people with us today, we have 4 people, including myself. But some great knowledge on the table, and somebody that I'm really glad to have back on the podcast after his first show out. And it's on his server this time, so I want to give a shout out to Davey D. Thank you for letting us host this podcast, this version, this iteration on your server.
I was welcome.
I do appreciate it. I can't wait to interact with the community here as well. It's been an interesting and fun time for me to kind of swap back and forth between the servers, because I look forward to interacting with everyone that has a say on something, and I don't want to kind of keep anybody left out. The whole point of the podcast and the name of it, like it is called the Round Table, is so that everybody has a say at the table, not just assuming people speak for them. So, without further ado, let's introduce ourselves. I will be your host today, 2Bob29.
I'm Mherex, also known as Cable Guy. These guys will call me Cable. Great to have you back on, Davey. A little background. I would not know Bob or any of the guys on this show if it wasn't for Davey. He introduced me to all of them. So, welcome back, fam!
This is Davey D, and as Cable said, he owes me royalties for introducing him. On to the next guest.
I'm Regularreggie. It's my second time on the show, and I'm happy to know all these guys. These are great guys.
Beautiful. So, guys, there's a lot to talk about as far as I'm concerned. We're done with the natural disasters month. That's now behind us. We're kind of wrapped up on that one, and we're into this Masters of the Universe month. We know what all the characters that they're going to be releasing are. All 6 characters. The free one being Cena, the chase one for the month being Triple H, and then there are these 4 quote-unquote premium cards. I don't know if I would necessarily consider Warrior a premium card, but I would still consider him one that people have to work for and get. But there's Warrior, there's Macho, there's Taker, and there's the New Day. Not just one of them, but 3 of them apparently. And you have to equip their gear to switch who they are. So I'm interested to see what the gears do, the first buff or the second buff. I'm sure it's not going to be something massive. There's no way it could be something like Big Red Machine Gear. If that was the case, that card would just be ridiculous. I'm hoping that it's something like basic, like a 1 MP something, like a couple % damage. Any guesses on what their gear's going to be, guys, at all?
Do we have an idea what the move sets look like?
No clue. 0%.
Okay. I mean, it could be something like Rey Mysterio's gear, like maybe, let's say, like color turn gems do X% more damage or something like that.
Okay, that'd be cool. Something like if they did color turns or traps that do like 300% more damage or something just crazy. That's an interesting one.
That would be nice.
My guess is going to be that so the card looks, you get him, everyone gets him, you need like 1 point or something, I think it looks like, right?
I think, yeah. I think it's going to be really easy to get that card, and then it's something that the gears are the chase. So everyone's going to get the Big E version.
My guess would be that one set is going to be obtainable probably with little to no spending, one gear set, and then the other one will probably be fairly pay heavy, I would assume. But it would be cool if they did some kind of stacking with it, whether either maybe you get 1 MP for 1, 3 MP for 2,
right,
or like more trap gems go out if it's a trap character, since it's a trickster. So like, maybe he generates 3 trap gems, or 5 with, or 4 with 1, and maybe 6 or 8 with 2, depending on how his builds move. But I think it'll be like they were saying, Rey Mysterio-esque, where each set builds more. So the final set, I think, will be a pretty good card, or I'm hopeful it will be. I'm happy either way because I'll have him for requirements. So either way, whether I get the gear or not, I'll be happy because I won't not have him when I need him.
Absolutely. That's exactly my 2 cents on this one. I like the fact that a lot of people can try and get this card pretty easily. That's what seems to be the thoughts on this one. But I am thinking that similar to like you guys are saying, that first gear is probably going to be attainable for people that want to grind and don't want to have to spend a whole lot. And I think that part of that means that they're willing to give it a decent buff, but not an overwhelming buff. But the flip side is, I think if you get both, that they want to make it overwhelming, because now you have all three gears.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm interested in, thinking like maybe they give a +1 starting MP like you were saying on the first gear, but on the second gear they give a +3 to starting all MP and something like, you know, plus 300% color turn damage or something like, just something really asinine that's just completely blows that card out the water, whatever that setup is. I think that'd be kind of interesting to see it too, just because everyone's going to have that New Day card to move forward with requirements instead of using their typical Trickster Woods, Showboat Biggie, and Acro Kofi. I mean, if you don't have Tech Kofi, you're kind of shit out of luck if there's a New Day event. I mean, I know I am. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything, but like, I have a 1.2 million roster. If there's a New Day event, I'm boned. Like it's some card that a lot of people can take up. It'd be really good.
So I believe the Xavier Woods gear is actually in the milestones, like in the actual solo milestones. And I think the Kofi gear is probably going to be the heavy pay-to-play one. I think that's how they set that up. So,
I mean, that'd be interesting. So to part on that, I'm going to address what TSD just brought up in the chat, which was if you equip a different gear and there's a requirement which requires Big E or Xavier Woods or Kofi, could you switch the gear and use that card in that case?
ooh, that's interesting. Yeah.
So I'm really interested to see in what the gear says, because when you do equip a gear, it does have a different look. It's a different poster, quote unquote, and there is sometimes a different nickname with it. So if instead of it being Big E, it could potentially be Woods, or could potentially be Kofi. I think it'd be a coding nightmare, but I have no idea.
The way the card is worded, it says Big E, many faces of Big E. I think that's how it was.
It's Big E, the many faces of positivity. But
Okay.
Yeah, so
but
it's gonna be a card. So
but if you have the gears, because we don't know what the gears look like, the gears have completely different looks. So if they change not only the gear but the name, there could be a potential for that to happen.
Yeah, from what I understand, like looking at it, when you change to Xavier Woods gear, you're going to look like Xavier. Kofi, you're going to look like Kofi. Either way, it's a really neat concept and idea, and adds a little more flavor to the card in general. Like, I like the idea quite a bit, and it brings up other interesting possibilities they could do with gear in the future, like especially between like potentially like tag teams and stuff. That they could do a lot of really neat stuff. You could also do like era gear, like for a particular character, and see them in different eras based on the gear. That would be really cool too. So I think I'm very interested to see what it's going to be for sure.
yes, I'm a big New Day mark anyway. So I was gonna go all in next week anyway because I love the New Day. So
There you go.
I was gonna do.
So if we need to find out, we're gonna find out through you, Reggie.
Oh, I'm good. Hopefully that Kofi gear isn't too expensive, but knowing Scopely is going to be expensive.
I don't want to talk about expensive. Let's not.
We'll get there for you later too, Bob.
You can shut up, Cable. All right, so let's move over through the monthly. There's a whole entire month going on that we can talk about. Now that we're not just a couple days into it, we can talk about progress of where we're at on the Triple H shards, where you have Cena, where you have perks. Are you done with the solo? There's a bunch that just talk about the monthly in general. So if anyone has anything to say on that, please feel free. I'm under the 500 shard limit, which I know is like right now, at this point in time in the month, is like if you have 500 or shards less needed for Triple H, that it seems to be very plausible that you could end up getting Triple H if you have some of these requirements and work for the remaining shards. So I'm very hopeful that I'll end up getting him. And my
I'm
seed
at
is at
1462 shards.
So you're like right at the cusp. Have you done the DX Sean tour?
I can't get to the final boss. I just can't.
Do you
There's too many
have?
props and
I was
cashbacks.
gonna say, do you have the light sheet steel props?
I do not know. I use all those in other tours.
Those are the money ones, man. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, those are the killers for those 100 shards. I was gonna say,
What's
if you have a
your
way, you could.
Sean at, Davey?
Entry level 4-star bronze.
Yeah. Same.
Okay.
Oh, it's basically still 3-star gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, you get them to 9K and you stop using them. I don't blame them for shit.
Oh,
Yeah,
so for me, oh,
go ahead, Reggie. No,
Okay.
you.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, I have Triple H. I got him earlier this week, so
Oh, nice.
so I'm pretty much done with the month, and I stopped my Cena at 4-star silver because I just can't justify taking the 4-star gold. I don't have the
Mhm.
coin to
Mhm.
do that, and I mean, I think for a Cena tour requirement in the future, I think 4-star silver will be plenty enough to get through whatever I need to get through. So I'm already just looking forward to next month and seeing what they got for next month.
4 silver with that Cena is gonna get through a lot, man. A lot of people
Yeah.
hate on that Cena, but like that Cena is amazing. For
Yeah, I'm
for
not
people
a
that don't have zombie Cena, that Cena is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Zombie Cena. This is coming up in the chat if you're just listening and not watching. Zombie Cena is phenomenal. Like he's got to be one of the. In my opinion, there's no way he's not one of the top tier tricksters. He's not macho good, obviously, or Hollywood good, so he's not like the top, but he's one of the better tricksters.
Absolutely fills that niche against green and purple users for sure.
Yeah, so I have zombie Cena, so that's my Cena going forward until they make a actual proper Cena that's actually really really OP like he should be in the game because he's the damn 16-time world champion.
Well,
So
I mean, good luck hoping. I guess there's a showboat, there's a powerhouse, there's an acro, there's a striker, there's a trickster and the
Metric.
zombie. So what you're really hoping that this hustle, loyalty, respect is gonna get, I guess, revamped into Tech Cena? I don't know.
I mean, if
We
Triple H can be an pro, then John Cena can be a tech. If
I'm
that's
not
what we're
arguing
going.
that, but Taker's a tech, and we'll talk about Taker being a tech in a minute. All right, fine. Go on, Cable. I didn't want to cut you off.
No, you're fine. I'm at 1927 shards. I've
Just
maxed
flop
every.
it out, why don't you? Huh?
Well, I maxed every coin except the last one, and then I shut down because I have way more than enough guys ready for a talent up. I think I could almost complete 2 now.
Oof.
So, but I wanted to work on Earthquake and some trainers this month too, so I did that as well. Also, I did 2 of the TPs. I got 100 out of 2 of the TPs. Didn't max, but got to the 100 milestone. And then all my daily bags last month were 5 or 10, and this month all have been 5 or 10, except recently I got 2 50s, so I was super happy about that. So normally I'd be almost 100 lower. I'd be 100 lower, but I got lucky on 2 bags this month. As far as scene goes, I like him more than a lot of people do for a few different reasons. A lot of people don't have Zombie Cena. I do. Zombie Cena is clearly the better Cena, though, for tours. But this Cena, he really needs to be maxed, I think, to see his full potential. And also keep in mind when you guys are playing with him on the tours, most of those Hell Mode tours where you're close to evenly matched are strapped up pretty good. So you're not seeing your normal gem output like you would on a lot of guys for when he's blowing up the board. So he's better than he looks when you're playing him because you're playing him against a strapped opponent. Setting him up right, you can blow up pretty much the whole board. It takes a little bit to load, but if you have a skip strap, he makes a lot more sense. The other reason why I kind of like him is he's modern era. And if you don't have Harper or Breeze, you probably don't have a good modern era striker. So there's reasons why he's worth it, I think. He's not amazing, but he is a striker that can blow up the board, and that's going to be a lot of damage even if it's a little slow. So I think he has his place. I took him 4-star gold. I don't know that I would necessarily recommend doing that. It really depends on your resources. For sure, I would say though, if you don't have a good Cena, get him 4-star bronze while he's free with tokens. So you have a decent Cena for tour requirements.
You've actually convinced me to take him to 4-star silver. I was on the cusp of should I, shouldn't I? But I think I will not after hearing you talk.
Personally, I can't wait to take him. I'm probably one of like the highest up people on this scene, and I don't understand why so many people don't like him so much. This guy's turn 1 for me. He's turn
With
1 for me.
perks.
Yeah, with perks. But everybody has tour perks all the time, and that's what we're talking
Mm-hmm.
about using him for as a tour. So if I
Mm-hmm.
have Akam on him and I have tour perks and I have what's his face, Striker Balor, then yeah, he has both yellows charged turn 1, destroy all the blacks, and now he has a yellow and a black move charged for turn 1, and I get 5 or 6 protect gems that I get to make into row breaks, and I choose where they go. So I can blow up 5, 6 rows if on a good chunk of boards, like 70-80% of the boards that come up, you can blow up a good chunk of the rows. Obviously, it's not the best if you're going up against the strapped up armored opponents that they're loving to throw out on the tours now. But like this is a quality Cena. This for anyone that doesn't have zombie Cena, this is a very quality Cena. And on top of that, like Cable just brought up, if you don't have Breeze and if you don't have Harper, and I have Striker Balor from D9 and I played him in the 5-star beta, which we'll talk about in a minute, I'm still not a fan of that card as a modern striker. He makes black gems, which is great, but like after that, he's done. Like it's just there's certain modern strikers that don't fit the bill. If you don't have one of these premium tier strikers in Harper or in Breeze, then this guy fits the bill of a modern striker also. So you're fitting an era, you're fitting a class, and you're fitting a specific card in Cena. This guy's better than any of your showboat Cenas, or even people that took Ruthless Aggression Cena to 4-star gold. Guess what? This guy's better at 4-star bronze. Even though you have that 3,000 botch gem fancy schmancy. I don't care. This guy is so much better as a striker. He just does the damage.
To piggyback on that too, Bob, there's a lot of different ways you can run this Cena, and it's going to be one I think very similar to where people slept on NWO Nash, who you really like.
Oh, fair.
If you play him right and set him up right, he gets a lot better, but he takes some practice and some work, and most of us probably haven't put a lot of time or effort into figuring it out. So you can run him. You can run him, the way you're talking about. You can run him yellow double black with Bray and take a little bit longer. And then if you have the right trainers, match 7, blow 7, so blow the entire board. Your way's a little faster. Hot tag, I think he has tons of potential as a hot tag, for example. If there's a Cena with a tag requirement, or even if there's not. I mean, we're talking about a striker that blows up the whole board. How many strikers do you guys know that can blow up the whole board?
There's not a lot that can do the whole board. No, absolutely not. And partially part of the other side of this, and to piggyback on your piggyback, if you want, you can set up the board with row breaks and use him as the starting partner and tag out to whoever your big damage dealer is.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's not a bad thing at all. Oh, I have 4-star Bronze Cena, but I put out 6 row breaks on the board and I'm tagging out to my 4-star gold whoever it is. Like, okay, that's gonna hurt. Period. But yeah, so yeah, in regards to me, as to me in the month, I'm about 1,500 shards in. I think I'm like 1,520, 1,540, something like that. I can't remember. But I'm under that 500 mark, hoping to really get the Triple H. It'd be a nice addition to the roster. Cena's 4-star bronze for me, but like entry level, like we were just talking about. But I really can't wait to get him up to silver. I just don't have enough tokens to do it, and there hasn't been a coin event yesterday, so there was no point in dumping coin into him. But yeah, it's been an interesting month. I think it's been a fun month, even though it's been very like stressful in the sense of all these blitzes.
Oh man.
I think
Don't talk about the. Oh, don't do that.
that's what I'm saying. I don't want to talk about those in specific, but in the sense of this month this month is a month for me that the way I'm viewing it, people are getting requirements. That's how I'm viewing this month. This month, people are getting Cena. If they didn't have Zombie Cena, now they have a good Cena requirement. If you're chasing the month, you're getting Triple H, and that is the best Triple H that you don't have to pay for. Period. Hands down, no question asked. If people aren't subbed, there's no King of Kings, there's no DX Triple H. That's already 2 of the classes. The only other 2 are Striker and Powerhouse. And those, no offense to anyone that likes those are not great cards. They just aren't.
Trash.
The next
Big
one
trash.
that's up is this Acrobat Triple H, and this Acrobat Triple H is for sure going to be someone's best card. So now you have Cena, and you have Triple H, and then the very first event they came out with was Warrior, and here's the kicker: they gave away the Powerhouse Warrior in the Showboat Warrior milestones. So if you didn't have Warrior, you now got Warrior. And if you couldn't get the Showboat Warrior, at least you now have the Powerhouse Warrior to fit the Powerhouse requirements for Warrior. So now you have a Cena that fits a good requirement, a Triple H that fits a good requirement, and a Warrior that fits a great requirement for people that didn't have them before.
Yeah, for me, like what you're saying, this month is awesome and frustrating at the same time. And I'd be interested to hear people that maybe don't have huge rosters how they view it. But if I'm looking at it like the way you say, right? Like, so also you look at this the Showdown event. Well, Taker isn't happening for anyone.
No.
Brock is like super easy to get. Like you get 2.25 million just for doing the Cena matches. If you do the Cena matches and you max Showdown, like, or get 500 above 500 in Showdown, you're basically going to guarantee yourself of getting Brock Lesnar,
a 3-star Brock Lesnar at that.
Yeah, and a lot of people still don't have him, and you can actually miss having Macho, Bruno, Volkov, and Dango, and if you do all the other stuff, you'll recruit Edge at 2-star as well. So for people that don't have Edge, here's a chance to get Edge as well. Pretty decent chance, actually. So while I'm super disappointed about Taker and I have all of the guys' names, so this isn't a great one for me personally, it does feel like that it's probably very good for a lot of people without maxing.
Yeah. In regards to the Showdown event, yeah, it's not the worst. A lot of people are just hating on it because they're not going to be able to get the card, and I understand that. But in regards to the monthly cards, the other 3 cards we have were Macho, were Taker, and then is New Day. So even we're ending it off, and most people are getting this New Day for relatively easily. That's a 4th requirement. Now you have Cena, Triple H, New Day, and Warrior. That's 4 cards that people maybe didn't have great requirement cards of before. I know I didn't have a good Cena. I know I didn't have a good Triple H because I'm not paying for him. And my Warrior was 3-star. So there's 3 of them right off rip for me. And I was just complaining about the New Day at the beginning of the podcast, how I have over 1 million roster and my New Day requirements suck because I don't have Tech Kofi. That's what it comes down to. So,
exact same boat as you.
So I don't know, man. Maybe I'm skewed when I look at it in that sense, but I'm looking at the cards that people can get with little to no needed resources. I'm not going to say effort because effort is always required in this, but little to no needed resources. And you can get 3 of these 4 cards, and if you want to chase, you can chase for the Triple H. Obviously, like I was saying, I'm still the furthest one out. I would like to, or the second furthest. I think Davey's a couple shards behind me, but I'm sure that we would both like to get this Triple H, and we're spending the resources that it is going to require to do it.
So here's the thing. I don't mean to take a sidebar. Okay, we get the Triple H and all these other cards that we wanted. Then what about the resources that we don't have to level them because everything in these current month-long contests has been such a resource sinkhole?
That's I mean that no one can ever argue that month-longs are always a resource drain, and that's just how it is.
So I think if you're playing this game and you wanna improve your roster, you want to get better, you want to grow, the really big thing is at its heart, you either spend way more than you should, or you get really super good at managing your resources. When you spend them, how you spend them, even how you spend your money when you spend it. So coming into this month, we've had super heavy resource drain months, and I had more coin than I've had in a long time. My TP has been slowly getting lower, but I'm not spending as much farming since I'm doing my channel stuff. So it's slowly getting lower there, but my coin has slowly been going up. That's not easy though. You have to maximize everything on the prize wall. You have to pick it right. Also, part of it being in a faction that gets a lot of coin from events super helps. But when you think about it too, Colin, these months have been a resource drain, but look at how good the freebies that you've sunk resources into actually are. So while it's a resource drain, you're getting a good return for it. Bailey's arguably one of the better females in the game, in my opinion, right? So, you're getting a lot of good return for it, but I get the point too. It is not easy. There's never enough resources, and it's really hard to know when to spend what. And I think for everyone listening, the better you get at managing your resources and when to spend, the faster / easier it is to grow your roster. And it's hard, but do research, look into it, do math, spend some time on it, and it'll make it a little bit easier. Not necessarily a lot, but there are some guys out there that can help you, maybe in your faction, other factions, YouTube, whatever. It's worth digging and looking, because really playing these monthlies and playing them well is the best way to grow your roster. It might not always be the guy you want at the time you want, but eventually you'll get there and your roster will get very, very deep while you're doing it.
So I think it's so hard to plan because they only release 1 week at a time. I feel like if they released all the tours and everything they were going to do for the month, people could plan better and pick and choose who they wanted to spend their resources on. So they could like skip a week if they don't have they know this character is low and they don't want to invest in it. They can just be like, all right, I'm good on this week. I can save up this week, and the next week I can boost this character so I can do those tours, those triumph tours or whatever, so you can get the card. I just feel like it shouldn't be a week at a time. I know some mobile games, they release the whole month of what they're going to do, the whole plan, and they adhere to it. So I just think Champions could do a better job of that, like other games.
Well, that's because they do it for the gacha, right? They're like oh, you're 3 weeks in and you thought you were gonna get it, Trickster week, and you don't have Farouk. Gotcha. And now you have to, that's exactly what it is. They wait for you to have to pay the money, because at that point it's like, shit, I can't get these 100 shards. There's 100 shards on the prize wall. Damn, I have to use my 600,000 ingots.
Yeah. So instead of being able to get some coins or that 1,000 TP bag, you could spend 600 ingots on 100 shards. You could do it for something else. I just think, I don't know. And I think what they're slowly going to start getting to, those feud packs where they have like the month-long character shards, I feel like slowly but surely those going to start being required to get the character. I don't know. It's just something about it just seems like they're going to start making that a requirement. To pay $99 to get 120 shards of the month-long character just so you can get them.
They claim that the coin and TP events, there's stretch milestones, quote-unquote, that those bags at the top of them are not required in order to max out the superstar. And I'm testing that theory because I haven't maxed a single damn one out, and I refuse to because I really want to see if they're just BSing me or if they're being truthful to their word that you don't need to, in theory, max those out to actually get the card. But if that seems to be the trend, then it may not be that you have to actually spend money on it to get the monthly card, but they may start putting some really hard requirements up. Like they may require NWO Macho for a Triumph tour or something like that, and behind that tour it's like, well shit, there's 100 shards of the card. And it's like, well, they might do something like that and tell you, well, I mean, hey, we gave you the opportunity, there's your 2,000 shards, but we're giving it behind a character that only 1% of the community has. It's like, well, screw me, you'll have to then spend. That's what I could see potentially happening.
So without HBK, you miss out on 100 this time, right? And he's so, and even if you have him, no guarantee of getting it.
No, like Davey's position, like you were saying.
Yeah, so there is that. I think to have a shot without doing the extra events like you're talking about, certain things need to happen. You have to max talent up or you have no chance. Your faction has to max the first blitz because there's so many shards in the first blitz, and you need the faction milestones. If those things happen, you're probably going to be really close. You might have to buy the 100 on the prize wall, but otherwise I think they're probably fairly accurate in that it's obtainable. But and all of these months, really, guys, to have a successful month, I would say 99% of the time, if you don't max talent up, it's going to make your month way harder. So like talent up is the is the big key around doing well in the monthly. And now with how many resources you get, holy heck, what was it? It's like 5 million coins, so many tokens. Like the talent, I get mad about a lot of stuff, but I love the current talent up format. I think it's great, and I actually don't have a single complaint about the talent up. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on that, though.
I'm okay with the talent up. I think that they had to do some fine tuning once they reworked it to be token based and not fused based. But that's the one thing I don't like about the talent up is the fact that you can't use fuses for shit anymore. You get a 3-star fuse or a 4-star fuse, and you're like, this is shit. But like, yeah, you save it for the talent up, but it's just it's so weak now compared to what it used to be, and compared to what you used to actually get in a coin event for it. You were like, this is awesome for a coin evo. I could get these and just max a coin evo out with a couple of fuses, and now you have to get at least 3 or 4. So
I would assume that is because of the Silver League loot and all of the extra 4 stars and fuses going out for free. That would just be my guess. I know, like, even with a deep roster, I get way more fuses for free now than I used to, for sure.
Yeah, I think that Silver League loot is probably the best thing they've ever implemented in the game by far. Because I've gotten 2 or 3 4-star silver fuses. Like, granted, it was Roman Reigns and Doink, but I mean, they're 4-star fuses that I'll need for, like, if I need to max out a coin event, like, just if I don't have the extra coin. So I'm okay with that. So I'm not complaining about that at all.
But yeah, it did hurt when they lowered them, because a lot of us, myself included, had saved a metric butt ton of those fuses and was planning on using them on talent up, and it hurt me on one talent up, and I had to way overspend to catch up the first one where it dropped. So I definitely get your side of it, too, Bob. I definitely like the resources in the talent up a lot more, and the fact that you get shards for the monthly. If we're gonna stick with this style of monthly, which I don't know that we will, because it seems like every 3-4 months they change the style of the monthly character anyway. That's been their MO. So I would imagine we'll maybe get 1 or 2 more like this, and then we'll see a different one. Just when you start to get it figured out, they change it up on us.
My only complaint with the talent up is that I think you should at least get a 2-star gold fuse of the free character. Like the last time
Yes.
they did something like that, we got a 3-star bronze fuse for NWO Brett, and then after that is just 1 stars. That's like my only complaint.
Yeah, that part is definitely a money thing. They want you to have to buy the starter pack, for sure. At least for a lot of people, the $19.99 isn't bad value in that stuff with the Blitz tickets, but it really hurts anyone free to play or that doesn't spend a lot, because that's $20 you have to spend, and maybe your budget for this game is $20 a month. So that part really sucks. I agree. I'd love it if they put a 2-star gold or 3-star bronze fuse in the milestones instead of doing the starter pack thing or making it so hard to get those shards. Although this month was easier to get the shards.
yeah, I have to agree.
I don't think they're gonna do that just because I think they sell so many packs, those $19.99 and those $100 packs. They're not gonna do that, because if you buy those packs, it just makes the start of your month so much easier. Like I buy the $20 pack every month. It's like another subscription.
Same.
To me. Yeah.
I know people that don't really spend at all during the month, like for whatsoever, and they'll start the month out with a $100 pack, and that's it.
Yeah, like the Blitz tickets in the $20 and even the $9.99 pack, it's the best value on the Blitz tickets by far. And you get the stuff, so it's hard not to buy it. It does make your month easier. The $100 pack gives you a crap load of the Tour and Blitz perk turnbuckle things, so you can actually, max your Blitz out a lot earlier and your Tours out a lot easier, and that makes everything for the whole month easier. 100 is really steep, though.
It is, yeah.
But as far as like what they charge $100 for and what your return usually is, I would argue that $100 on that $100 starter pack is one of the better quote unquote value things. But again, not realistic for a lot of people to buy it. So I'm not saying buy it or it's a good deal or that kind of thing. I'm just saying comparatively, and I'm seeing a lot of people even in faction chat and other people I talk to, starting to say like, okay, this $100 pack is one of the best things I can spend my money on. And a lot of people are like, I really look forward to the starter packs each month. It's how I get my Blitz tickets. It's how I get rolling on the month. And that's kind of crazy when you think about it. So maybe this style is here to stay. I have to imagine they sell way, because I never buy the $100 pack, and I actually did this month. That was most of my budget for the game this month, was that $100 pack. I needed the Blitz tickets, and the other stuff that you got, it was hard not like. What was my choice? That or buying Blitz tickets outright, and the $100 pack was way better value. So
Yeah, the Blitz ticket economy is not fun. Obviously, we'll talk about it a little bit. I'll get the party started. I end up where was it? What was the day that I looked? It was the 7th. I looked on the 7th of June, and I had 113,000 Blitz tickets in my account.
Ooh.
And
hey, Bob,
uh-huh.
how many Blitz tickets you got now, bud?
Yeah, I have 300.
What?
I have 300.
What?
Although
So
that being said, Bob, what new powerhouse did you get this month?
So, in the process of going through an obscene amount of Blitz tickets, because that wasn't the only amount of Blitz tickets I went through, and ended up spending over $100 on more Blitz tickets.
Jeez.
I ended up getting the Powerhouse Macho from the monthly event.
He means the leaderboard. He passed all those huge whales, and I'm sure pissed at least 3 or 4 people off minimum.
Good job.
I'm not gonna lie. The amount of blitzes I did that weekend was an obscene amount. I lost count after I lost count after almost 100, and then I was like, okay, I'm done counting because this is just too many and it's too much to try and keep track of. By math, I had done at least 350 to 400 blitzes over the weekend.
Oh my god, you earned that, Macho.
yeah,
That's what I.
you and that.
What's up?
And you got the Powerhouse King gear. So I mean, it was a great
Yes.
weekend.
So the way it started out, and this is the way it was supposed to work. I was just chasing the big red machine gear.
That's all.
That was
That's how
it. That was literally how it started. So Friday night, I was like, okay, I'm gonna just chase. I was stupid, and I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna spend a couple $100 and chase Macho, and didn't get him. Like, screw me. Wake up the next day, talking to a buddy of mine. He's like, you know that you can just grind to big red machine gear. Like, wait, what? Yeah, it just costs like 60,000 Blitz tickets. Fuck me. Like, okay, I just went through like 50,000 on this past faction event for this Blitz. Sure, I'll go through all of my tickets, but I mean, I'll get Big Red Cane gear. Sure. Literally grinded out all of the damn Blitzes, and after grinding them out with my buddy, both of us on the leaderboards, 15th and 16th place. And I'm like, oh shit. I think there's a chance here. That's when it started. That's when it started. So Big Red Machine Cane gear is the natural like little bait. I ended up getting that, and I was looking at the leaderboards, and I'm like, well, I mean, I know it's gonna be a spend event at the end because it always is, and it was, which was kind of stupid, but I was just like, I'm sitting here like, there's no way, man. The math was so stupid. It was so every $100 that you spent on pulls, you got 135,000 points in the event. Every $100 that you spent on premium tickets, you got 206,000 points in the event. Every $100 that you spent on regular Blitz tickets, you got 300,000 points in the event. But you had to grind out the Blitzes versus just doing pulls, which is a button. So I sat there thinking to myself, well, if I end up spending $100 on Blitz tickets, someone's going to have to spend over $200 to catch up point-wise. So that was the math that I ended up going in with it in, and yeah, I spent like $140 on regular Blitz tickets. Spent like $300 on premium Blitz tickets. It was not cheap, but ended up doing the math right and chasing it out, and someone who I'm sure a lot of people know is a very big whale in the game who initiated the event by spending $3,000 and was in 3rd place for the longest time on the leaderboard, was booted out at the very last minute because people had decided to keep spending towards the end. So for someone that spent over 3 times what I had spent to not get the card because the way they did it was really really shitty, to say the
I,
least.
I need you to DM me who you're talking about because this is juicy.
Oh, I know exactly who it is because he was at the top of the leaderboard. As like as soon as the event ended and he didn't get the card, and I felt so bad for him.
I didn't. I'm not gonna lie.
I didn't.
I was rooting for Two Bob because I knew he was the majority of it grinding, and I know if you're listening, guys, like the top of the leaderboard is a different kind of a different realm.
It's a different
So
beast, man.
Two Bob spent a fraction of what everyone else up there spent, and he's not a he's definitely a dolphin when but when Two Bob decides to spend, he decides to spend, but he doesn't always spend big. So this is a case of where he spent really smart and made his dollar go a lot farther than anyone else. So not saying it's smart to spend what he spent.
No.
At all. But,
No.
but what I am saying is when you spend smartly once you decide to. So he decided to, and he got a lot of, I hesitate to say, he got a lot of scopely bang for his buck. We'll go with that. So you look at it even on a smaller scale. So let's say Warrior, you were close to getting him, but you didn't get him. And if you spent, say, $50 maybe or $40, you guarantee yourself Warrior. That's maybe not a bad purchase in the sense that you get a guy that you wouldn't have gotten. So when you decide to spend, make it count. Don't spend to get nothing, is what I'm saying. Because a lot of times in this game, you spend and you get nothing. Oh, this loot looks great. I want this guy. I'm going to spend $100 on pulls or $50 on pulls, and you get jack crap. I'm telling you, do not spend that way. It's okay to do pulls at the start when your roster's small, but when there's one or two guys you're fishing for in that loot, you're not getting it. You're throwing that money away. So wait for it to mean something and then spend it.
And then like Cable's saying to kind of just drive the point home, and the point that I was trying to make by telling the whole story is when you're gonna spend, make sure you're gonna get what you want from spending, because for you it may be 10, 20, or $100, but if you start hitting that realm of like we were talking about, where you're getting into that like top tier realm of the top of the leaderboard, you're talking about spending a couple of grand and not getting what you want. Like, don't be that guy who ends up spending a couple of grand and not getting what you want. Don't even be that guy who does it for 100, because then you're gonna hate it. You're just gonna sit there and you're gonna say why. If it's a card, if it's a plate, if it's whatever it is, no one's gonna tell you that you can't spend. Your game, your money, your spend, your mentality. You're good. There's a reason they had a zombie skip turn loot and people spent money on it. People spend. Totally understandable. But when you're gonna spend, try and make sure you can land what you're going for, because you don't want to just sit there and say, well, I spent $100 and now I have shards in my hand that I'm not even going to use, or I have items that I can't even redeem. You don't want to do that.
Which is why I can justify spending $400 or $500 on getting Trick Eddie, the 3-star bronze card at the end of the milestone, because I knew I was going to get him.
Right.
Yeah, so whatever your level's at, so if Reggie's is 400 or 500, he's comfortable with, and it's really specific to you. Pick it. Don't spend and hurt yourself ever, but if you're going to spend and have fun, and that's how you're spending your entertainment money, do it smart, and then do it like Reggie said, 400 or 500. If he spends that, it's worth it to him to get the guy. So figure out what's worth it to you that doesn't hurt you, and then spend when it makes a difference. You can also set yourself a budget, and if you don't hit it this month, roll it into next month, and then save your money essentially for when it will make a difference, and then hit it and get that guy, because there's going to be guys that you love that you'll mark out for. To Bob, Trick Eddie, and things like that. And when they come, if you've prepared for it, it's not really a big deal. And then if you're lucky, but when it's not going to work, don't just throw it away. Just don't try and pull that 0.001% chance. You're telling yourself you're going to be that guy. You're not. You're also not winning the lottery. So don't do it.
Yeah. And while we're on the topic of spending and guaranteeing versus spending and not guaranteeing, we can talk about the Tech Taker Showdown. and kind of similar to how Reggie was talking about Eddie. Eddie was an event where you can spend, guarantee, get the card. Champa was an event, spend, guarantee, get the card. Drew was an event, spend, guarantee, get the card. Taker is not that event. Taker is not even remotely close to that event.
It's like they took the Warrior event and then made it worse.
They literally took, like people are saying, they took everything that we don't like about Showdown events and they shoved it in, and they took everything that we did like and took it out. Even the talent up portion is specifically tailored to Technician Taker, not just Technicians, not just Undertakers. 2 of the 3 tours that need to get Tech Taker shards, you have to have Tech Taker.
I will never understand that.
To me, this is more similar to the Champa event than any of the other ones. That it was not Champa, Gargano. Sorry,
Gargano.
Apologies,
Yeah.
not Champa, Gargano. Where it's like it was the same thing. It's like you need Gargano to do the blitz. You need Gargano to do the tours. You need Gargano to do the bonus points. You need Gargano to get Gargano. And it's just realistic. It's not realistic. That's the issue.
The Taker part of it is bad.
Right. The fact that you have to increase Tech Taker and that everything you have to do is Tech Taker, not just like, oh, hey, use your Undertakers to get the only one that you're not missing. Like, there could have been so many ways they could have marketed this in any way, shape, or form, but they limited it to Tech Taker. So this event, as we were just talking about, if you want to spend to guarantee your stuff, my personal advice on this one, don't spend. There's no guarantee. If you're close, because the RNG bags from the milestones just decided to shine the luckiest luck upon you in the world, and you're like, oh, I'm 50 shards short. By all means, if you want to spend $20, $50, $100, whatever is your budget, like, go for it, man. You're close. But most of us, and I know I'm talking for at least me, I'm planning on getting poop out of those bags. I'm not expecting to have more than 400 shards at the absolute maximum of this guy by the time that this event is over, and that includes the Stinger tour, if you even have Stinger, because it's not any Sting, it's Stinger.
And the last guy for the most shards is a 4-star gold Drew that hits insanely hard. He is strapped, and it's not. I have a 4-star silver Stinger with gear, and I had to. I think I retried it 4 times, and on the last time I was sick of it. I think I did a 1 cash kick out even because I got sick of blowing the health packs. It's not a guarantee you'll even do that last milestone, and that's a maxed 4-star silver Stinger with gear.
Yeah, mine's 3-star gold fodder.
Yeah, that ain't happening.
I mean, hey, I got through normal and hard. But yeah, man, that's a rough one, to be honest.
Yeah, so too, Bob, what you're saying, if you have everyone but Macho and you don't spend, you get to the second to last milestone, you get 11 of those Taker bags, 10 to 200 shards. That means you're going to probably average 15 shards on 11 bags, so you're talking maybe 175 shards. So
if you're lucky, yes.
Yeah, don't spend thinking you'll get Taker. You won't.
Yeah, this is not the one to go chasing after, guys and gals. This is just not the one.
Not at all. Well, once I saw how good he was gonna be, I knew they were gonna pull something like this, and I was like, okay, I'm just waiting until New Day week next week because I already knew that this was gonna be a crapshoot. I didn't have time for it. I was already looking forward to next week.
So let's talk about the card. Let's talk about the card
yeah.
itself instead of the Showdown. What do you guys think of let's just say that this card was inside of your account tomorrow. Where would you rank him amongst the 6 takers? Because I still put him at second.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, he's not better than Acro Taker. There's no way, in my opinion, and I'll explain why later. But go ahead, Reggie. You do you.
Only because, well, me personally, I'm not doing the three choose move set because you're pinning every turn and you're taking unnecessary damage. I personally like the one where you choose the X-Breaks gems and then you just cover those X-Breaks gems with the choose. It just seems more bang for your buck, and you can still reload your moves too. So it's in between. You know what? I kind of lean towards Acro Taker too because that trap gem move is just OP, and I've literally got nuked on the first turn in a feud with that move set. So you know what? I'll stick with Acro Taker. You're right. I'll take Acro Taker.
So part of my comparison in this, if you had the following 3 technicians versus the following 3 acrobats, who would you start first? Technicians, Alistair Black, Kofi Kingston, and Taker. Who are you starting first?
Kofi.
Me,
Yeah.
Kofi by
Kofi.
Kofi,
Yeah.
right? And Kofi by far, right? Okay.
Yep.
If you have the following 3 acros, Zombie Taker, Ricochet, and Rey Mysterio without gear, who are you starting?
Zombie
Taker.
Taker.
Echo Taker, yeah, by far. Yeah.
Okay.
Not even close.
So
Not even close.
that's part of my comparison in this, because in that aspect he is the best acrobat because he doesn't get ruined by the multi-gem coaches, and vice versa. Tech Taker, even if you put him up against Alistair Black, which is the second comparison, and you didn't have Kofi, personally I would still start Alistair Black over Taker, because even though Taker has the cross break set, personally, and here's my 2 cents on Taker, I like his finisher. I might be crazy.
Yeah.
I like his finisher. He gets 6 rows of botch gems, and then he turns them into green, and then just continues to make rows of botch gems. And it's not a hard-hitting finisher, but it's the fact that if you just keep on making botch gems, it doesn't matter if you have class advantage, if you have showboat, if you have striker. It doesn't give a shit if you have Mr. T giving you plus a 1,000 base red gem. It doesn't matter. It's just 0 damage. So unless they get cascades from the top, that's a cool moveset. Vice versa, comparatively, I don't want a tech who's reliant on botch gems to hope that my opponent doesn't get a cascade from the top of the board, compared to Tech Black or Kofi.
So, with what you're saying too, Bob, strap-wise, I think that moveset ends up being the best, because so techs don't have the highest gem damage anyway. So let's say you double fury him, okay, that's cool, but that's not their strong suit really, because they're kind of in the middle. They got decent hit points, they got mediocre gem damage.
All around tech's the all around character for sure.
Exactly. So you run that botch gem set and you run gem defense, and I think that's probably his best, potential max build, if you will. But he just isn't. If you run the choose moves, he's not super fast. He's insanely slow. He's strong. So I think he's very, very strong. He's just not very fast. And most of us now, if you're talking about guys where you have to spend and top tier guys, now we're talking about guys that hit hard and are fast. Like you take Earthquake, you don't even think like the one moveset, the green red, or the green red, you don't even think where you put the gems. You buff the move, you throw the random reds out, you do 300k damage, boom, you're done. Yeah. It's no thinking, it's super fast, done, boom, done. Those are the guys that are top tier now. The really fast guys, it's over. So if you're gonna take a guy and say he's like god tier or whatever, I'll take a fast guy. Now I think he'll be insanely fun to play. The animations are cool. He's going to be very strong, like I said. I just don't, he's just not fast enough for me to say he's, the top guy. Or I think, acro-wise, it's apples to oranges, but I'd rather have, honestly, Triple H, because he's going to be faster.
Yeah, I would say yes. I would say if there was a premium card you were wanting to chase this month, that acro Triple H would be better than chasing Taker, personally.
I think Triple H might end up being the second best card this month, behind Powerhouse Macho.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep my comments to myself about my Macho. That card is not fair. I'm gonna just stay quiet until people have to end up fighting him one day, and then they're just gonna complain. And that's what
I know. Little sidebar. I think Powerhouse Macho might end up being better than Powerhouse Hogan. That's just a personal opinion of mine, but.
What I'm interested in is when so we've all seen, we had the 6 months of X-Pac line bonuses, the 6 month of Z Austin line bonuses. When the Hogan line bonuses go away, and they will, I'm really interested to see how people then think Hogan stacks to Earthquake with gear and with Macho.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I think Earthquake with gear, I think everybody's just still sleeping with Earthquake on gear. And
agree.
I know I've been asking you guys ever since I got Macho, who do I take up, Macho or Earthquake with gear? Or Big Red Machine, now that I got his stupid gear from the frickin' event also. It's like, who do you take up?
All three.
Right, all three. And it's like, I'm sitting here like, I can't take up all three. So I took one off, which was Big Red Machine, but I'm working up Macho, which at 3-star gold, I'm destroying people at 4-star bronze and silver in Showdown. It's not fair. It's really not fair. And I'm working on Earthquake. I'm working him up just because we all have him at 4-star gold and have the gear, and that card is a nightmare when people actually start to take him up. If you have Earthquake and have not taken him up, take him up.
Do it
Do
now.
not let this be another Dango situation.
Yeah.
Everybody had Dango at 4-star bronze from that monthly, or the 3-star silver or gold from the prize wall, whatever it was, and everyone sat on it. Is this card good? I don't know if this card's good. He seems kind of good. Take them up. People, take them up. If not, I mean, I'm not going to complain because it's an easier showdown for me, but take them up.
Yeah.
You need to take up Earthquake and Triple H as fast as possible. That's just two cards you need to have up higher.
Agree.
Like max.
That Earthquake is probably the best guy in the game for Fury set and gem damage. With what that red, so here I can give you a really quick comparison because I have my game open. So my Earthquake, he pull this up here. I have, and I don't have the Fury gem damage, like 20% or 30% plus the Fury buff. So I had to go a different route with a Vitality one that's 30%. Okay. But my Earthquake is level 113. His base red damage is only 2,926 at level 113. So that's still going to go way up.
Grand.
Yep. When I start a match and I use the gem buff move and then hit a red, it's over 8,800.
Right.
And and he's making a 9x9 if you use that move set, or he's blowing up the board with the blast gem move set. So just think about that for a second. And his secondary color is 2,400 at this level, so that's big too. But we're talking about 2,926 to almost 6,000 points more of damage, and I don't even have his best possible strap setup. I don't have a plate on him yet, and I don't have a Fury all gem percentage metal, and that's so for double 6,000. I mean that's like what 300% essentially at the end of it. We're talking what 200% more, something like that. My math is bad, Steiner math. Either way, so. What at 4-star gold, isn't that like 5,000 the red gem damage usually maxed?
Almost, yeah, like 48, 4,900-ish.
So we're probably talking in the neighborhood of 15,000, right?
Oh, you're talking
16,000?
You're talking more because the higher up that your base goes, the higher up the buff is
higher
going
up
to
the percentage.
You're going to be closing. Remember when I was talking about how I want to get Drew's buff to like 20,000 on the bonus on his black move?
Yes.
You're going to be closing in on that on your base red gem damage, not as a bonus, but per red gem. You're going to be closing in like 16 to 18k per red gem using Earthquake with a double set Fury and a red gem strap.
So that's going to be that 3x3, those 9 gems, if you don't connect, is 180,000. Then you get to hit the move again. Then you do his finisher.
Correct.
If you do connect and he connects often and gets big but cascades with that, freaking they're dead anyway. And that's arguably not even his best move set.
And anyone out there who does understand straps and is thinking to themselves, well, these guys are idiots. They're not taking into account the armor. Fury will actually take into account after the armor hits. That's the way that this game codes it and that it works. So if you armor me, that's how my game's going to start me down, but my Fury will hit afterwards based on my base gem damage. So you'll actually reduce me by 40, but I'll still increase by my normal base from what I came into the game with by 40. It goes on top of what your reduction is. It's some weird way that it stacks on the scaling of Fury versus armor, but Fury actually beats out armor.
His red move that buffs gem damage may be the best move in the game.
One of the. I'm gonna keep my own comments about my 3-star gold match. Yeah.
Quiet you. But it's definitely
watching Davey.
It's definitely
on that
one of the
preview,
best.
Man, that's what sold it for me. Davey, that preview that you had the 3 starting moves and you just kept those. That's the move set I'm using on him. I can't break away from it because it's a green move that makes red gems that you can cascade either into green gems or blue gems to get the green move ready again. It's just endless. Also, a
Hey, Bob,
tiny little side note. What's up,
fix
Rich?
that? Did they hot fix that finisher
I
you showed
was
us?
just gonna talk about the side note on the finisher. So the finisher has some weird text. Okay, anyone that hasn't read the finisher, if you're gonna go and read it now, it's probably gonna be different than whenever you read it last time, because they're still working on how they want to have it display. The way that they're trying to get it to work is that when you hit the finisher, the first 2 kick-out turns for your opponent are supposed to be under this reduction, and in theory, the third one should not be. That's how they're trying to get it to work, but in the process of changing the wording on the card, on one of the hot fixes where it was like on both your and your opponent's turns, they got rid of the part where it pins the opponent. So it didn't pin anymore. It just became an 80% gem damage reduction. so
No finisher.
no finisher, no pin, but still, red move that you're generating with your don't move pin bar move. So I have a video where I ended up hitting the finisher twice because there was no pin, and I think it was like I was doing Dead Man's Tour, so it was Dead Man Taker 4-star bronze, was doing like negative 600 purple gem damage.
Ooh.
And I was like, okay, interesting. I've seen 1, I've seen 0, I've not seen negative. And then it had me wondering, would that gem match heal me? And I didn't know, because when you're playing Macho, you have too many wild cards and they're usually in danger, so you can't just let them hit you. And if you go to pin them and they're going to kick out, they're in danger, so they can't kick out. So I couldn't test it, and by the time that I went back to go and test it to see, they had already hotfixed the move. And I was like, damn. But,
Hey, Hanson has a question for us in the chat. He said, how you guys rank Hogan? Hogan, EQ with gear, or Macho, like 1, 2, 3?
oof. Anybody want to take that one first?
I would go Macho, Earthquake, Hogan.
I think I agree with that.
But Hogan with the yellow moveset, those wild cards, man.
Oh.
Hogan with the yellow moveset is nasty, and he can't really be countered because nobody counters yellow. So that's part of the issue. But part 2 of that is Earthquake with gear starts out turn 1 with a yellow moveset. So it's like it's a fair comparison because they both have yellow and they both destroy the board. But in my opinion, Earthquake gets the nod because he starts out turn 1 and it's not reliant on perks. It's not reliant on tag team situation, etc. I think the better move set is the wild cards. I think that you're generating wild cards everywhere is just absolutely obscene damage. And I think that the yellow moveset on Hogan is for sure better than the black moveset for anyone that uses the black moveset. Just keep in mind that you have a completely viable alternative moveset if you haven't looked into it, because I know a lot of people are stuck on that black moveset. But yeah, no, to me, the fact that yellow has no counter, that's a nod for both of them because they both have yellow, but I think Earthquake gets it because turn 1, regardless of perks.
Yellow does have a counter in Rikishi, but it's just not.
It's not an effective counter. I mean, in theory, yellow has a counter with Shane O'Mac for everyone that's going to take him 5-star. Congratulations, go out there and enjoy that choose move. He has a steal also. It doesn't make it viable. But yeah, honestly, from my perspective, after playing with Macho, yeah, Macho. I think Macho gets first. As a powerhouse, man, they took like 4 cards, 5 cards, best features, and shoved it into this card. Like, they took Powerhouse's Angles feature of the Milk Toss and put it on his finisher. They took the Choose from Acro Macho without the pin bar moving and put that on his move. They took the Mr. Perfect aspect, the Nikki aspect of having a move that just gives MP to your OP move. Like, they've just taken all of the best aspects on the card and they put it on the card, and that doesn't even take into account his submission and bleed moveset, which is viable. I just don't like it. It's viable when you get it to 4-star because you're like, well, there's 10 turn sub and 10 turn bleed, but you're gonna die.
Bob, I got a question for you. Since you have Macho, you're playing him a bunch. How fast can you win with the choose move. I'm not arguing the power of it. The choose move that doesn't move the pin bar, you're just going to choose and choose and choose and choose and choose and recycle and recycle and recycle. So
it takes like 2 minutes, I'll say, like 2 to 3 minutes. I'll for sure, comparatively to Earthquake, I think Earthquake is quicker, but board control wise, I think Macho gets the nod, because even if you have a shit board, you can be like, you could aware, like, tell yourself, I am aware this is a shit board. I am not going to get very many green or blue matches here. I'm going to just make 2 wild cards with the red and hope that a green or blue falls for me to get the move ready again. So like, there's still time in theory that you have to look and choose at the board, but it's not that bad. It's not bad whatsoever. It's really not slow. It's actually quite fast.
Okay, so would you say then that Macho is more consistent, Earthquake slightly faster?
I think that's a more accurate description. Yes, Earthquake for sure is probably the fastest card in the game in my opinion. That's who I was doing those 350, 400 blitzes with, was Earthquake. Turn 1, done. That's it. That was the blitz.
Okay.
So there's no comparison, but I think overall power, yeah, Macho maybe gets it.
And who, trainer-wise, who for your moveset, what trainers do you need for Macho to get it done?
So Steel, because you need the green move. You need Big John Stud. So those are 2 very basic trainers.
Okay.
Outside of that, the coaches are rare coaches. Personally, I have Hall of Fame Lita because it's an extra red gem. I would like to keep that because that means the choose does a whole shit ton more. And the people that have Macho that I speak to, they all love to use Triple H DX, but I'm not sub to that, and personally I don't see the benefit in being sub to it. I'm using Tiandre instead. Which again, rare card, rare coach. I own up to it, but that's who I think should be used.
Okay.
I think those are the 2 most viable cards. If you didn't have Tiandre coach, I don't think it's the end of the world, because right now mine's a 3-star gold and I don't have the second coach slot, so I don't even have him on him right now. I'm using Lita.
How would like Typhoon be with red gem damage?
That's what I was going to suggest. If you don't have Tiandre, to use Typhoon. But if you don't have Lita, I think that's where it suffers a tiny bit because you're down from 6 to 5. Flip side, if you do a tag match with him, and you have obviously the Cena or the Warrior, he becomes unstoppable because he gets 2 more reds right off rip just from tag link.
Okay. What's the charge on that choose?
The choose is a 7, and then the blue move, which fills up the green move, gives exactly 7 green MP, and it's an 8 charge blue move.
Okay.
So
really
2,
easy to get.
Right, with +2, it's turn 1.
And even if you didn't have the +2, let's say, you could always do a row match, hit a blue, really easy to get to regardless.
Correct.
Okay. So pretty dang viable either way, Earthquake or Macho. No one probably gets the nod on easier of coaches. I do like the fact that Earthquake doesn't need a true MP coach. He can use one of the dual color ones.
Mm-hmm.
So overall, though, we're saying all 3 are probably insanely close, though, yeah?
I would agree. And the funniest thing is I think Hogan actually is probably the technical worst out of the 3. Just because he doesn't start turn 1 like Earthquake, and he doesn't have the power that Macho has. So by proxy, I think it goes Macho, Earthquake, or Earthquake Macho as 1A, 1B as you would say it, and then Hogan.
Yep. But when Hogan hits, good night.
Yes. Absolutely. When Hogan hits, good night.
And for Showdown... Go ahead, Reggie.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I like how they made Powerhouse the worst class to the best class, literally with 1 4-star silver, 4-star gold. That's how viable Powerhouse became.
Yeah, we will never have a Powerhouse feud now because of that. We'll never have those Powerhouse feuds that used to exist. The red and yellow feuds where it was Powerhouses and shit. We'll never have that again because there's too many Powerhouses now. Even though we're not talking about a Big Red Machine Kane with the gear, that's top tier powerhouse. Drew McIntyre is top tier powerhouse. Z-Rock, top tier powerhouse. Z Austin, top tier powerhouse. Hall of Fame Hall, top tier powerhouse. Like you got a shit ton of top tier powerhouses that we're not having that feud.
even a bad powerhouse is a good powerhouse at this point. I mean, so even think about this from a completely free to play standpoint. Let's take Shelton Benjamin. His move that makes reds is 8 MP. Well, guess what Big John Studd does now? He gives you that yellow. Guess who's turn 1 now?
Yep.
Making a bunch of reds is Shelton, and then there's no way he's not going to recycle.
No,
and
he's a monster. I hate him. I hated fighting him on the tour.
and now he's worse because if you have like if I was free to play, I would take Shelton to 4-star gold right now and Big John Stud and just there's my turn 1 feud guy that's gonna rape people like legit. Even a guy that's not a top tier powerhouse, and then compare that to with what other turn 1 options you have as free to play. A Striker Sting would be your 2 guys, right?
Yeah, but you need Akam, who's not a free to play move point trainer.
Exactly. So power, like I said, like you can make almost any powerhouse into a really solid to very good guy, especially the ones that are available to do turn 1, which isn't as many as you'd think, but it's a freaking amazing class, like Reggie was saying, which gives me hope for Showboat someday.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're trying to do something with Showboat with that warrior.
I have Godfather, and he can't finish matches sometimes, and he turns the whole board into like 3,300 loot gems, and he still can't finish sometimes. So
yeah, he ignores Showboat gem damage. He just turns the true gem damage up because no one has loot gem defense. That doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, even David Smith is pretty good at 4-star gold. Like, and he's like low on the powerhouse totem pole, and he's still decent.
Yeah.
He just has a hard time.
But that's there's a shit ton of powerhouses, man. That's how it always works. Let's go back to the monthly though. I think there's something that we can all talk about. How they used to have the Bailey shop, and then what was it? What did they have, Cable, after the Bailey shop last month?
It was the daily offers, the daily VIP, I think they called it.
The daily VIP things in the store, and now we have the class Orb Shop. The issue with all this, I think, though, is everybody really liked the Bailey shop because it reset every week, and you had those specific ingots that you can go for. The VIP daily offers, I think people were not really upset about because you could just save and wait until you had those really good VIP days. Like I ended up getting the Tech Breck gear on the final day of the month for that one, so that was good. Comparatively to the Bailey store, I think the light sheet steel props were probably better though, and I think that's probably why they didn't want to return it, just because they didn't want to get rid of those.
The cash was nice too.
Yeah, everybody loved the Bailey store, and it turned into the VIP offers, which again weren't bad, they were just worse comparatively to the store. And then we now have the class orbs. There's a two-parter with the class orbs. There's universal ones, and there's all individual classes. The universal ones you get from your keys, but the class ones you have to get from spending on these events. Like the Powerhouse Macho ones will give you red orbs. This Tech Taker one will give you green orbs. And B, if you're getting these specific class orbs, this isn't. It's not helping in any way towards like obtaining the card that you're trying to spend on getting. Like if you're trying to spend to get Tech Taker, getting these class orbs does not help you get Tech Taker. But spending the orbs will actually benefit towards the key event. And that's the one thing I'm not a huge fan of, is that we have to end up spending to be part of the key event. It's not a good aspect.
It seems like they can never get this key event right, man. Like either it's way too easy or way too hard. It's never just right. I don't understand that, but I know it's a tangent. You know.
I would like to see with the monthly key thing. I think appropriate would probably be somewhere between 15 and 25 factions being able to max it. I don't think it needs to be exclusive in the faction milestones for like 0 to 5 to do it. That seems too stiff. Although I'd be interested to get you guys' take on it, but I don't think for maxing a monthly event as a faction, I don't think somewhere between 15 and 25 would be inconceivable or too much. I'm sure people will probably argue with that, but what do you guys think?
Well, I mean, if Grim and Rum and the top 5 factions are having a hard time maxing that key event, then I have no hope for like the bottom 50 factions trying to max this thing. So like last month, like nobody maxed the key event, I don't believe. But then this month we have 2 or 3 factions already maxed it with like 9 days left. And every time Scopely sees like a faction, like the top factions max the key event early, they're gonna be like, oh well, it was too easy, so I guess we're gonna make it really hard again. And then no, so I don't know. They need to find a balance because I don't know how to balance it, but they need to find a balance because there's no way top factions shouldn't be maxing it or maxing it early. If y'all get what I mean.
No, absolutely. I follow with what you mean. The point that bothers me is be people should not be required to spend in order to max the event. And right now, that's the reason that they're getting this event maxed early. So
Yes.
it's not only what you're saying, but it's going to be a double-edged sword. Because next
Yep.
month there's not going to be a spend component for, oh, we have class orbs and this will give you points towards the key event. Oh, and by the way, because you guys maxed the key event a week early, we raised the milestones because, that many keys are available clearly because you guys did it so early and there's so many keys that are still left in all these tours. That's going to be
Yeah.
the rationality. So it's not just going to be, oh, we're going to raise it. It's going to be, we're going to raise it and then
So-
either require you to spend or not even give you the spend component. And that's my
So correct-
concern.
Correct me if I'm wrong. 2 months ago, no one maxed it. I think Team Slam finished first. There was no spending element to the keys, or very little. You have to buy keys from the store, but no one maxed it. Last month, I think Team Slam was second. Did anyone max it last month?
Nobody maxed it last month.
Nope.
Yeah. And again, no spending under the keys in the store. This month, they add spending to it, and we got, 2 factions already max it, and it looks like more will. Maybe 6, 7, 8. So it's definitely better in the sense that you're still able to max it, but also now you're seeing instead of doing the event, playing for the event, that kind of stuff, you're able to win, quote unquote, the event through spending as a faction, which in general is not as cool to me. Like, you think as a faction it should all hinge on completing those blitzes, those faction events, because that's what your faction's about, doing your portion, that kind of thing, not necessarily spending your way to the top. Not that I have a problem with factions that are doing that. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying in general I don't care for that model as a competition model for a monthly event.
No, it's more fun to compete. It's
Yeah.
more fun to compete instead of be like, let me take out my wallet and then compete that way. Like that. So I don't want to like harsh on it or harp on it or just like keep on dating back to it. But like the Powerhouse Macho event, my buddy and I, when we hit 15th and 16th, we looked at each other and we're like, one of us isn't going for this. We're like, yeah, because if we end up going for this, at the end of the day, regardless how much we grind, it's going to be a money spend event. And there's no point for the both of us to end up spending money to screw the other one out of spending money. That's what it comes down to. And it's just like you don't want to be put in those situations. Like you know it's going to happen. You just don't want to do it.
Yeah, there have been a few times, like you remember back to spring zombie event in our chat group, and a couple of us were going for milestones, and you're like, man, I hope we don't need to be in the exact same spot. Top 10, maybe a little more flexible, but if you both start needing like top 5, you're like, man, I might knock one of my buddies out. That really sucks.
It's one of the worst feelings that you could possibly have. Because it's like you know the grind that you went through, and you know that somebody else that you know has gone through, if not the exact same grind, a very similar grind. And you've experienced that pain, that dedication, that requirement, that whatever you want to call it, and you don't want to screw someone that you know out of the reward that comes at the end of the tunnel. So yeah, it's just a roughie sometimes. That's really what it comes down to. And it's like no one's gonna want to have to deal with these keys. No one's gonna want to spend to not get it at the end of the tunnel. It's ugly. The keys, the blitz tickets, the whole economy on those things, it's really not the best. You guys have all been listening. I have less than 1,000 blitz tickets. It's like I'm shit out of luck. It is what it is.
Blitz tickets are essentially, at this point, they're making us pay to be able to play the game. That seems wrong. Like, if you want to have super high milestones, maybe even impossible almost milestones where you freaking can't sleep to max the blitz, that's fine. Let me decide to go for it. But like, you got to give us better offers, more blitz tickets or something right now if you're going to require this kind of, like, I mean, we're talking your 1% is like what, 40 average this month, close to 40,000 probably tickets, 30,000 tickets a blitz, and there's nowhere near that much available to get.
No, yeah, on average, if you're in my position, for example, with 0 blitz tickets, and you're required to spend 25 to 30,000 blitz tickets, it's $100 to $120 for your 1%.
Yeah.
And
That's too much.
No one's gonna want to be like, all right, I'll spend the $120 for my 1%, and then find out that their faction doesn't hit the max milestone. It's a double-edged sword on so many angles. It's just like you don't want to do it, and furthermore, it's like, why the fuck do I want to pay $100 goddamn to play this one blitz? That's so
Right.
insane. And how many blitzes were there this month? We're on like 7.
At least 7.
It's-
Yeah, at least 7.
7.
Yeah.
I used to complain about the fancy blitz tickets. Screw that. Give me the fancy blitz tickets back, but actually give me some. Give me the
Right.
100 in my inventory in the message like you used to do. Hey guys, here's 100 fancy blitz tickets that you get for free. If you want more, you can pay for them. But instead, we're giving you the 100. Go grind it.
How about those blitzes where if you won the blitz, you got your tickets back and got to keep blitzing?
Yeah. Yep, I like that too. Yeah.
Oh, something, man. Anything. But like at this point, it's like just no tickets. The only reason I have 300 tickets is because 6 people in my faction bought the blitz ticket pack, and I got 50 faction tickets for each one. That's the only reason.
So
I didn't
question:
open them from anything.
any of you guys either listening or any of you guys talking, are you in town hall? Have you heard is the shortage of blitz tickets being addressed this month in there? Like, is Scopely aware? Are they listening? Do you know? Do you not know?
I look at those town hall feedback channels all the time, and I'm always looking for what they talk about in there. I don't think there's a single leader that actually gives viable feedback that doesn't mention blitz tickets. I think it has been mentioned every single time. And right here, I'm just going to read what's in the most recent one. You're simply ripping teams apart, blitz after blitz after blitz. If people don't buy blitz tickets, they fear demotion in their team, yet by buying them, no other resources can be bought. And with the copy-paste monthlies, people are actually only paying for resources only to keep up. Way too many players complain and simply are quitting or wanting to move to less restrictive teams, and I really feel sorry for the teams outside of the top 70. They don't have the ingots to pay to get the tickets. You're killing your own game. Realistically, if you're not in a top 70 faction, even if you're in a top 100 faction or not, the fact that you can't get the ingots to use the prize wall to get the tickets to keep playing, like, what kind of backwards mentality is that? There used to not be a prize wall a year ago. How are people getting blitz tickets that way? Like,
Right.
It used to all be blue bags.
Yeah, and the $10 for 2,500 tickets is
It's horrible.
That's a major ripoff. I did it twice just so I could complete blitz, but I can't. I don't want to just spend $10 for 2,500 tickets. And that's not even one
two
blitz.
blitzes. Yeah, two
blitz?
hard modes, one hell mode, not even.
You get 2.5. That's always the best. Is you're like, I got 2.5. I did my 2. Shit, I got to spend this amount again, but I get 3 this time. I can do 3. And it's like no, it's stupid. It's one of the worst. Blitz tickets have literally become the new TP. Coin has always been an issue for a lot of people. I know, Cable, you always talk about how you can farm coin out and you can maintain a high level, but that's also because you're buying the coin from the prize wall partially instead of all of the blitz tickets. In this particular monthly, I have purchased all of the blitz tickets, including like the shitty deal. It's just all the blitz, and that's why you're falling a little bit behind on coin this month comparatively. But that's what it comes down to. It's this prize wall that they created, which was supposed to be better than the milestone rewards that they were giving us. It was at first, and they have just consistently and regrettably made it worse every month to the point where people are required and forced to buy certain resources, and regardless what the price is on the prize wall, they're going to pay it because they need the resource. That's just what it comes down to.
I spent most of my ingots on the 750 tickets. I bought all of those with my ingots, and now I'm just trying to stack up some more to maybe see if I can get some more coin before the month is.
There was a 6,000 ticket offer. I bought that. There was a 1,000 ticket offer. I bought that. There was the 1.5K ticket offer with 100 TP. 10 of those. I bought every one of those. I bought all of the 40s, and I might miss out on 3 or 4 mil coin this month. But also keep in mind when I'm talking about I'm purchasing all this off the prize wall. Right now in the month long, I'm in 46th place at 3.8 million. So I'm talking like probably finish top 50 in the game in my league, and I might not be able to buy just all the tickets and all the coin. That's how ridiculous. Right. There won't be anything else.
Right.
But like, so, and that's what percentage of people playing the game is that? So how realistic is that? Plus, they didn't even have enough tickets for me to be able to complete all of my 1% requirements. I had to buy.
Let alone if you wanted to do your own
Extra.
decided solo event chasing Macho like I did, or if anyone wants to start chasing any of the other ones for blitzes, they can't do it.
Right. Well, in that blitz part of it, what is it like? If you do the blitz that wasn't a faction last week with the powerhouse one, didn't you get like 8 or 9 million coins, 1,700 TP?
Yeah,
Yeah,
thing. The same thing happened this week before the Taker thing kicked off. They had one for
Yep.
techs. So yes,
Yeah,
it's
and
not a. It's the thing is, it's like they're shoving it in our face. They're like, guys, you want resources? Here's the resources. All you need is blitz tickets. Duh. Like.
yeah, but when it costs 60,000 tickets to get said resources, you're out of them after one. If you had enough to do one.
Correct. Like I said, man, I started. It was the 7th of the month, which is less than 2 weeks ago. It will be 2 weeks exactly tomorrow, and I had 113,000 blitz tickets, and today I have 300. That's just
Also,
how many tickets it's been required.
We're not exactly the biggest chunk of the game either. All of us talking here, we all have very big rosters. We all definitely spend. I know I spend about 150 a month is my budget. Reggie, I know you spend more too, Bob. I think you're hit or miss. Some months you definitely spend more.
Right. And then there's some months I just don't even spend a penny.
Exactly. So, but the point being is we don't spend a little.
No, when you spend and you decide to spend, we spend.
And we're complaining about it. So imagine what this is like for anyone else, from free to play up to even like the people that drop $50 a month that put a good chunk of their paycheck into the game.
Mm-hmm. Dude,
That's
we talked about that. We talked about that like in the first podcast where we both had brought up the idea that if you're spending $20 in this game, you're more or less considered free to play.
Yeah.
And that's no offense to anyone who's spending money on this game whatsoever. That is just the bucket that this type of game has classified you in. Because if you're not spending 20 or 50 or 100 regularly, the game is just going to consider you free to play because you don't have the cards. You don't have that premium trainer, like whatever it is.
3 months ago, though, you didn't have to pay to blitz.
No.
Now you do.
God.
And let's keep in mind, we have a trickster blitz next week too. That you're gonna have to somehow find the tickets to do that too.
Yep.
On top of the Big E blitz that you have to do with your faction. So
the Universe Collide blitz. I heard those tickets are going. It's $20 a run.
Oh my gosh.
For a premium run of that Universes Collide blitz.
So that's rough. We got totally sidetracked from your original question about the
class orbs. It is what
the
it
universal and class orbs.
It is what it is, man. That's what happens with us. But yeah, the class orb shop overall, I think it's a double-edged sword. I think if you're comparing it to the Bailey shop or the daily VIP offers, I think comparatively it sucks because if you don't spend, you're shit out of luck and you can't even interact with it. It's a wasted feature this month for you if you're not spending to chase something. It's right for the colors. Sorry, yeah, the universal is worth it for the keys, and even still, I'll get to that in a second. But in the colors aspect, it sucks because you have to spend in order to get it. You didn't have to spend on the Bailey month. You didn't have to spend on the the VIP wall month or whatever it is type of thing where it was the VIP offer. You had to already have a subscription or something like that. It was $3 for a King of Kings subscription. So that wasn't the end of the world if you really wanted to get something type of thing. But this is just brutal. You could spend $10-20 and you can walk away with like 20 TP, and that's nothing because what did you spend money for to get to the class orb shop? No, because you're spending money to chase and get the thing, whatever the thing is in that particular case. And to touch on what's actually in the shop's not all that great. It's okay. It's good if you're chasing TP. If you need a specific token, fine. Outside of that, it's meh. The amount that you actually have to spend and get the legendary strap is you have to spend so much money.
Here's a good indicator too, Bob. Like, I won Benny's giveaway for pulls. I think I won. It was 35 pulls or something. I won,
nice.
Right? Yeah, and I didn't do it for the powerhouse because I had everyone in the loot. I'm like, I'll save it for the tech. And I had a few extra pulls from like a 99-cent deal and a 4.99 deal that I had just decided dumbly to do.
Sure.
So I had like 52 pulls or something right in there, something like
40
that.
to 50-ish pulls, yeah.
Yeah, I did my pulls and I got 4,900 orbs, not quite enough for the 5,000 for the legendary strap. And I'm like,
right.
yeah, I'm like, well, dang, I'm close. I'll do like 5 more pulls and see if I can get it. I did, I got it, and I'm like, okay, this is cool. I'm gonna go get myself a legendary strap. The problem is you can't pick the era. If you could pick,
it's random.
Yes, if you could pick the era, it would be great. So anyway, I'm all excited. I'm all right. I'm gonna get a legendary strap, yay! And then I pulled a new gen, and I was like, oh, okay, that's not bad. And then I looked closer, and it was women's, and I was like,
new gen tech.
wow, okay. If someone had told me I was gonna buy that extra, 5 pulls for $5 and get 1,200 strap parts, I probably would have said, go take an effing hike.
Right, and you would have taken the 400 something TP instead because you already had it at that point. But
Yep.
that's my point. You had to spend close to 50 something pulls, which if someone didn't get a giveaway is about $100, and you have to spend $100 for an
crap.
RNG legendary strap for that class.
Yep. So basically, essentially, if you had purchased that, it was $100 to get all shards in the pulls, and 1,200 strap parts.
The only thing about it, I like that it had a similar aspect to the Hall of Fame loot, where if you missed, there was a class shop that you can get something on the back end. That way you didn't just get shards of pointless shit. The flip side is the amount of orbs needed to hit something in that class shop was a
Super
lot
high.
compared to what they were giving out. If everything in the shop had cost half the amount of orbs, it would have been a decent shop, and people would have got some decent TP from it, and you would have told yourself, well, $20 for 200 TP isn't so bad, and I took a shot at the loot.
Yep.
That would be the consolation prize. Not, I spent $100, I was really close, let me spend another $5 to get this, and then be disappointed with the fact that I spent $5 after spending 100 and then not getting what I wanted. So comparatively, the class shops, while
very bad,
a double-edged sword, while I feel that there's a benefit, that there's a bailout where if you get the orbs, you can go to the shop and get something versus shards for cards you would never use. That is the benefit in those types of pulls. While that exists, I don't think that it's worth it because it's not what's the word I'm looking for? It's not worth the give and take, at all.
And what would have made it better is if it was all a generic pool and you could choose the color TP. It went along with your faction one too, since a lot of people are getting the faction ones. If all of it was universal and the universal ones, you could choose your TP or your class or your thing, and it was one bundled thing, it would have made it better. Still not amazing, but definitely better.
Right. In regards to the universal ones, the universal shop is literally the same exact shop as the class one, except just like had been said, it's a bag of one random color. It's just not that you get to pick; it's just random.
I also feel like the TP should have been unlimited because I bought all the TP off of that, and I still have more orbs left over, and I don't know what to spend them on. So
well, that's the whole point. Once I saw that the TP was limited to 2 or 3 bags, I'm like, this is a waste of my orbs on 100 or 200 TP. I'll just farm that out. Once I saw that shop, I had decided that's going to be 6,250 strap bits for me because I'm going to go for all 5 legendaries. I'm expecting to get shit, and I'm expecting to sell them all for $12.50 a pop.
Yep, that's what I'm going to do. The same. Oh, I wanted to mention this earlier and forgot. We were talking a little bit about prize wall in general. Hold on to your ingots as long as you can. Wait as long as you can to make any purchases because you'll find you might get stuff in milestones. You might pull a new guy. Something might come up where you need something. So I try not to buy stuff off the prize wall unless I actually need it until the very, very end so I can choose. Because sometimes people will buy the 100 shards and then find out later they didn't need the 100 shards and that could have got you 5 mil coin, for example.
Right.
So definitely hold on to your ingots as long as you possibly can. That helps with what to do and how to do it because we were talking about the fact that it hurts that they don't tell you what's going to happen in the game the whole month ahead of time, and that can help alleviate it to a point. Not enough to matter, but it does help some.
Absolutely.
Well, you're gonna need to buy the Blitz tickets. Let's be real.
Yes.
Oh yeah, those just buy them. Yeah.
The one exception to the things that you don't just buy right away is blitz tickets. Buy
Yeah,
those
just buy
suckers
'em.
right away.
Just buy them all.
But yeah, that's my thoughts on the class Orb Shop. I think comparatively the Universal Orb Shop is not as good as the daily offers last month, and certainly not as good as the Bailey store the month prior. And I think the class Orb Shop is bad as a replacement if you're piling it onto the Orb Shop, but it's a decent replacement to the fact that if you get shit in pulls, at least you can get TP, and everyone's always short on TP. So from that, because we're kind of getting close to it, I think we'll move on. I'm just going to skip the town hall feedback channels. Make a very quick mention about it. They've started to add town hall channels in a lot of the joint community servers that we're in. Intel, Gerson server, maybe your own faction server, so you can have some insight as to what's going on in town hall. If you haven't checked those channels out, I suggest checking them out. It's not going to do you personally any good, but at least you know that your concerns are being heard, or that someone else in the community is feeling the same way. It doesn't say who posts what, but you can kind of get an understanding of what's getting posted in there and what's being heard versus what isn't. Again, there's only so much that can be done when the developers just sit there and say thanks and then move on. But you can see it for your own two eyes. It exists in those servers and in those channels. Personally, I think it's kind of funny just to watch everybody in the community all yell at the server devs, like joint and unison. Like the past, I don't know, 2 to 3 weeks has just been, you guys aren't listening to us. We need blitz tickets. You're not listening to us. Blitz tickets, blitz tickets. And then everyone's saying, well, you guys, I don't think that there's been anything that you guys have talked about that we haven't addressed. And then someone said blitz tickets, and then it just went quiet. So and for me, it's funny to watch it. It's kind of shitty because if you don't laugh at it, you're going to end up crying and realizing that the devs are just, no offense, they're just not the best, and they're not really on our side. But check them out, worth looking into. With that being said, let's talk about the beta a tiny bit. Beta came out, 5-star beta. If you were signed for it or whatever it is, I'm sure you've already played it, and you probably got bored of it within the first 30 minutes like everyone else did. The reason an issue, there was a good chunk of issues. First and foremost, which they still haven't fixed to this moment, Bray Wyatt is not an MP trainer you can use because they decided to start everybody out in League 7 in the beta, and one of the league prizes from leaguing up from 1 to 7 is a 2-star silver Bray Wyatt. So instead of having a 4-star gold max Bray Wyatt as an MP trainer, you have a 2-star silver. And you're thinking to yourself, well, it's the beta. They're giving you 1 billion coins. You could take them up. Yeah, of course you could, except you have no tokens. You're on a beta account, and they didn't think about it. So even though it's been 3, 4, or maybe 5 days at this point, and they've gone through all of the move fixes, because there was obviously that, like Mark Henry's finisher not doing any damage, Sergeant Slaughter having traps that says when you do this, blank, when your opponent does this, blank, Xavier Woods creating an area of blank gems, Luke Harper creating 0 gems, a shit ton of glitches and issues. With all of those things being fixed, they still have yet to fix the fact that you need all 6 MP trainers, so you can't actually give accurate feedback on anybody at 5-star if they have black moves, because Bray is the black MP trainer. On top of this, they did not give out a decent amount of characters similar to how they did on the 4-star beta. At least they gave out, I think it was 4 on the 4-star beta, but in this one you got 2. 2 whole big superstars, man. 2 5-star superstars, the best. And not to mention, after you use them in every match, they would go to danger and pretend like they had been killed. So you could actually see just how many health packs you had to use to take up those 5-star characters. And I think it was, like 47 health packs for an acrobat, who I think has the second lowest health compared to a striker. So yeah, good luck with that one on the health pack economy. Because we all remember when that was like a huge bitch and issue for 6 months or so.
Honestly,
but the 5-star beta, just awful. Absolutely awful. No black MP trainer. If they were going to do it right, they should have done it right from the get-go. They should have said, hey guys, if you're going to sign up for the beta, here's 1 character from each class at 5-star and a female. That's how they should have done it. It should have been, you got a powerhouse, a tech, an acrobat, a trickster, a showboat, and a striker, all males, all 5-star, that you could work on, that you can give relevant and regular feedback based on, and say, oh man, this 5-star couldn't make it through hard mode, this guy blazed through hell mode. You could have a comparison and say, oh wow, Shane McMahon is actually not that good at 5-star compared to Volkov, even though Shane has an amazing move, or vice versa. And then you could have a female to test with too, even though we all know that they don't really value females. If you got stuck with a female, and yes, I'm using those words in the 5-star beta, you got stuck with it, and that was one of your 2 cards. It was just very poorly done in this case, in my opinion, and it wasn't worth going through the reset of trying to say, well, I got 2 shit cards, let me reset and try and get 2 better ones. It wasn't worth it.
Also, talk about the fact that if you, for some reason, weren't necessarily thinking it 100% through and maybe linked your account to your Facebook, the potential of people not having access to their main account
Ever again.
Yeah. So I wanted to do beta. I'm like, oh, because I'm making videos, I'll do beta stuff. People love it. They'll want to watch it. So I set up my beta thing, go through the tutorial, and there was nothing loaded in it, right? Like I had no beta stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, well, I guess I should probably link it to my Facebook and then it'll drop in. That's what I assumed because I had no 5 stars, no 4 stars. So I linked it to my Facebook. Luckily, it was signed into a different Google account, the one that I use for my YouTube channel.
Gotcha.
So essentially it linked it to that. However, what it did do then is while I slept at night, it auto-updated. So instead of being on one copy of my emulator, it auto-updated to everything on my emulator and my phone. So I woke up and my phone no longer had my main account and my emulator no longer had my main account. So
Jeez.
I panicked a little bit, just a touch. I uninstalled the game, reinstalled it, but it wouldn't let me reinstall the regular one, even though that's what I had tried.
Yep.
So I'm like, oh crap, my account's gone. But before I freaked out completely, because I was fairly freaked out, I went and unsubscribed to the beta, and then I was able to re-download it.
Right.
And everything was good. So if you're having that problem, go ahead and unsubscribe to the beta if you haven't got it fixed yet, and then try logging back in. It hopefully will work for you. But that not the best maybe scenario. Also, if you did get stuck with a woman and you got stuck with Bailey, I really hope that's an error because her moves went up to like a bajillion MP to use. Like we're talking like she's completely unusable. So I'm assuming that's an error too. Lots of bugs in moves.
Kurt Angle's powerhouse move, fucking 1 MP move went up to 9.
Yeah, and Drew's bleed. What did Drew's bleed go down to? Like a normal bleed?
Drew's bleed went from like 150,000 to 13K.
Right.
If it procced, if it triggered.
So and granted, this is a beta, right? There's going to be mistakes. That's why you're playing the beta to fix it. However, you would think that the majority of moves would at least be right, not the majority wrong? Question mark?
I mean, the majority of the already existing moves I would expect to be okay. I would expect the new moves that, yes, there could be some issues. I wouldn't expect, 5-star Bronze Mark Henry's finisher now does nothing. Like, I wouldn't expect that his starting move all of a sudden at 5-star Bronze is now just
worthless.
Bunk. Right, yeah, no, it's...
So those are my big things with it. And honestly, having done the 4-star beta, so much changed. I mean, we need to do it, I think, and test it and help show them the things. So I'm not saying not to do beta or it's bad. I mean, it's great. But also, so much of what don't make decisions based on what you're seeing in beta previews now, because just because a guy got an awesome move and looks amazing right now doesn't mean he'll stay that way. So don't level up your 5-star IRS or your 2-star bronze IRS because he's awesome now. Because they might screw him over. In fact, they probably will.
They might do the same with Shane O'Mac, too. So, with that in mind, now that we're talking about it, I know that we're reaching a close relatively soon, but that in mind that we're talking about it, is it provided that everything stays the same, is there anybody that you guys see that you want to take up to 5-star right now if their moves actually work?
Earthquake, Kofi, and Triple H Acro are my first 3 that I'm going to take up to 5-star because I feel like they're going to scale up pretty well still.
So nothing compared to what you wouldn't have done before, though, is my point.
No, not right now. No.
So big surprise for me would be Cactus Jack.
Okay, I like that one. I like that move.
It flows. He can blow up the board. He's got an MP steel too, so a lot of utility top to bottom. So Cactus Jack is one that I would certainly consider if he stays the same, especially since I don't love a lot of my tricksters.
Right.
Who else? So both Steel and Hammer, that sub is particularly nasty.
Yep. Both of them have
So
good.
those are, yep, those are very interesting to me. In particular, I would, as long as the move charges stay similar and stuff, though, I would take Hammer because he has the MP Steel, and a little more utility. But those are both were pretty cool. Stinger, Acro Sting gets the choose red and then the random blue, and I saw most people having him running him with the you can choose more reds.
Yep.
I don't think I do it that way, to be honest. I would leverage my gear, and I would not add to the red choose, and I would choose enough to get to the blue and not cause a pin, and then flood the board with blues. That's probably what I would try.
That's
but
solid.
He looks fun. I like Sting anyway. He's not going to be fast or top tier, but that's one where, like, as my second acro to 5-star, I don't love. Eddie, not fast, but man, he's even more control, lose less. Wow, acro Eddie, yes, he'll be my second acro. Sorry, Stinger.
I can't lie, dude. Anyone that doesn't know, Acro Eddie has a 2 MP choose 2 columns to swap move. So it's very interesting, very fun looking.
Acro is interesting too because he has the I think it's the generate, destroy, multiply gems. I think that's what he does.
Acro Macho.
Yeah.
Macho.
He's got a good one.
So,
My hidden one, my sleeper that my buddy from 1% showed me, Bam Bam.
Yeah, he flows now with a stun.
Bam Bam flows with a stun now, and that is ridiculous if you want to actually flow with someone like that and don't have Z Austin.
He generates yellows now?
It's his new 5-star red move, generates yellows, yeah.
Oh, man.
Right. Oh, man, indeed. So, yeah, there's some good ones out there. I can't lie. There's definitely some good ones. Oh, yeah, JBL actually does have a 4th shuffle move. It's a shuffle. You have to choose to shuffle a 4x7 area. so you're shuffling half the board instead of all the board.
It's a word shuffle, and if you can ever use more than 3 moves, then he'll have 4 shuffles.
Oh my goodness, dude, that was such a joke when I saw that. I'm like, are you serious? This thing has a column shuffle, a row shuffle, a board shuffle. It's like, there's no way we're gonna put another shuffle on him. Little did you know, shuffle half the board. Okay, all right, guys, I give up.
One I want to call out as a big loser would be Tough. So he needed some help anyway, and they gave him a worse board shuffle.
They gave him a second board shuffle, and it's worse than just shuffling the board.
Yeah. So Tough really loses. Champa,
here to just man, he had his day at 3-star gold, but he's done.
And ever since that day, that's been his day.
Yep. Champa gets a black MP steal depending on the charge and stuff. Already class advantage. That'll be particularly nasty against Hogan. So that looks really nice. Although I was going to take Champa 4-star or 5-star anyway, but that's a good 5-star move. Dango improves protect gems, so I find that very fascinating.
Just stupid.
My favorite guy. Looks like there'll be no negatives going forward, so happy about that. His tag partner, Breezy Boy, his random power gen submission that tosses out power gems. Now you get a move that converts those to blue. So my favorite move set, he could potentially semi-recycle to recycle better.
My personal hidden sleeper for 5-star is Drew because he gets a blue MP steal. Anybody that has Drew out there who doesn't have Trickster Eddie, look into Drew 5-star. He has a very low MP cost blue MP steal, and not a lot of people steal blue MP out there.
Yep. He's definitely will probably be my second powerhouse behind Earthquake.
So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on so far. This is all again based off what's shown in the current 5-star beta. Everything is subject to change, as we are currently aware.
That's a subject to change.
Yep, everything's subject to change. You gotta remember that shit. And yeah, Ben, I'm right behind you, Trickster Eddie. Even though he's still 3-star for me, I'm working him up. I'm gonna have him as my Trickster project going to 5-star. Not because he gets anything good at 5-star, just because Eddie's just such a damn monster.
Yeah.
All right, I think we can possibly start to close it up here. We're closing in on Showdown. It should be kicking off in about 2 minutes. So if anyone wants to stick around, we're gonna do a little Q&A with you guys. We'll probably be here playing Showdown with the most of you guys while doing this Q&A. I wanted to start doing this as of the last podcast because I really do enjoy talking with you guys and hearing your feedback, hearing your questions, hearing your input, kind of like we were doing during the podcast. But I kind of want to just dedicate this time to you guys here. If you guys want to shout anything out, have any questions, whatever it may be. But for the majority of the podcast, for all the listeners on YouTube, thank you guys for listening. Appreciate everybody coming out. Thanks, Davey. He unfortunately had to leave not too long ago. Had some family obligations to attend to. So want to thank him one more time for hosting us on his server this time. We will be moving over back to Cable Guy's server. We have to actually talk about that. One final thing. Don't know if we're going to be doing a July 4th podcast or not. Depends on everybody's schedule. The next podcast in 2 weeks from now will fall on July 4th. There's obviously going to be some Scopely related event, but I don't want to impede on anyone's July 4th plans. Even if, the society and the world is what it is right now, people still might want to barbecue. So, I'm not going to tell people, hey, screw your barbecue, just come hop on the podcast. So we'll figure it out.
To my knowledge, too, Bob, the wifey works on the 4th of July, so unless that changes, I would rather talk about my silly gem matching game than go stand outside in the giant scare ball in the sky.
That makes perfect sense. I'm not going to argue. So we'll figure it out, guys. But thank you guys all for listening. Sincere thanks. Huge shout out to Cable Guy for sticking it out. Thank you, Reggie, for informing me last night that you'd be able to make it. You were a huge lifesaver in this one and a hell of an addition to the podcast. I really do enjoy your insight, and I know a lot of other people in the chat do too. So thank you guys for coming out. Once again, thank you, Davey D, for hosting this wonderful version of the Lounge Roundtable podcast. And thank everybody for listening in for the 5th iteration. We hope to have at least another 5 more, if not continue on past that. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to stick around. We will be answering them as we kick off Showdown.